most physically imposing wide receiver we've ever seen at Longview High School. Number 7, the great Malcolm Kelly.
The GOAT.
The GOAT in many people's opinion.
Back at it again, so guys, Spencer. You know what time it is. It's time for the top 100 East Texas players of 2025. This is the 40 through 31 edition, and this is a fun list to compose. I love it, man. 10 by 10, 20 a week. It is a slow stew. This is a slow stew. This is something that takes a little time, a little process. Some of y'all getting a little impatient out there. Y'all hit me in the DMs. Y'all want to know, am I on the list? When can I see the full rankings? Am I it? When guys relax, it'll happen. Just ride the rest of the wave out. I will release the full rankings at the end of this list. Like I said, I'll let you know exactly what I'm thinking about, you know, where your kid possibly lines up at, where you lined up at on the list. And yeah, it'll be fun. Just give it a little time. Give it a little time. It's 40 through 30 now. Next week we'll get to the next 20, and then that last week we'll drop the last 10. And, you know, we'll see where everybody lines up at. But without further ado, let's get into the list. At number 40, senior quarterback, receiver, running back, athlete, best player on the field from White Oak, Texas. It is Jackson Ludlow. Ludlow's an incredible athlete, 6 foot, 185, 190 pounds. Probably the fastest dude on the field he's playing at. And I think the biggest thing with Ludlow is Ludlow showed a lot of improvement throwing the football. He's a very accurate passer, at least on the highlight tape anyway, right? Accurate passer. His athleticism, his speed. They had to use at more than one position. He's the best player they have. And sometimes you got to be able to take advantage of that, whether he's at receiver or whether he's at quarterback or wherever the situation may be. Ludlow did an incredible job of keeping this kid involved and keeping him at the center of what they did. And like I said, he was kind of all they had at White Oak. Phenomenal athlete. Really had one of those not superhero type feelings whenever you saw him line up and play for White Oak this year. He kind of put the team on his back, coach's kid, put everything on me, and he kind of ran with that. And you saw the ability. He has a bunch of ability, really fast, accurate passer, evades sacks, runs through tackles, everything you need a kid in order to do to be that guy for his team. He was that this year. And 95 overall rating for a great highlight tape. Comes here on the list at number 40, Jackson Ludlow. At number 39, senior linebacker from Pine Tree, it is Dalen Montgomery. And man, what a tape. The forced fumbles jump off the screen right away. This is a football playing man. This is a football playing guy. He can absolutely get to it. He will hit the shit out of you. I couldn't find another way to say it. He will absolutely unload and does a great job of separating the ball away from the body. Something that he's savvy to, something that he's either coached to do or just something that's natural and instinctive of him to do. He is trying to separate you from the football, whether you're a runner, a potential receiver, or a quarterback on a sack. He is trying to get back there and create turnovers and make things happen for his team. Like I said, Pine Tree has turned the tide here in the last 2 or 3 years. They've been very competitive. Moving down helped them out tremendously to be able to compete with, you know, schools more of their size, where they should have been at in the first place, right? But they're on a level where they can get with it. They've got a great coaching staff in there that's trying to get the most out of their kids, and they're producing some ball players, man. The linebacker position was great last year with Seth McFarland. And Dalen Montgomery took over the reins as the best linebacker this year and did an impressive job. Fast, lightning, hits the crap out of you, very savvy. Just a really good football team and a really good highlight tape. Rate him out as a 95 and at number 39 overall, the senior linebacker, Dalen Montgomery. At number 38, the most explosive defensive tackle in East Texas this year was a sophomore from Nacogdoches, and his name is Caden Bruton. 11 and a half sacks for him this year. Absolute amazing ball get off, explosive, a true bear, just an absolute mismatch up front for a lot of people. Let's talk about the speed, the power that this guy generates. This force is just not fair for a lot of high school guys. He's college ready already. body wise, explosion wise, he can go win a bunch of one-on-one reps against college size linemen right now, in my opinion. Very explosive, very dangerous up front. Uh, and took advantage of people. And that's what I love to see. If you're that good, go be that good. If you're that good, go get 12 sacks. Go get 11 and a half sacks if you're that good. No, you see a bunch of D linemen, you talk about getting double teamed, triple teamed, and being out of this game and yada, yada, yada. Hey, man, if you're Myles Garrett, go get 23 and a half sacks or however the number is. Like, I want to see you produce. And that's what the biggest thing is here for Caden Bruton. You see him just whipping people left and right, getting to the quarterback and throwing people down to the ground. Now, are there holes in his game? Yeah, and you're not going to see him on a highlight tape because this is a highlight tape. Is there things he can improve on? Yeah, he will. He's a sophomore. But this dude is a potential five-star kid out of East Texas. Probably as a sophomore, 38. There's no telling where he'll end up on the list next year as a junior and even more as a senior if he continues to progress and get better. He's just a hell of an athlete and a productive player and a guy that's going to be very scary to watch over the course of the next 2 years. At number 38, sophomore from Nacogdoches, Caden Bruton. At number 37, a very savvy safety slash wide receiver from Kilgore, Texas, it is Jacalyn Sheffield. Last year, Sheffield, extreme. I think he was in the 30s or 20s last year on the list, had 9 interceptions, an insane number. This year, not as many picks, a lot of PBUs. He had 12 pass breakups this year. I think maybe 4 interceptions. And then on top of all that, 131 tackles. I think that was the biggest difference between Jacalyn as a junior and a senior. The opportunities weren't there like they were the year before. He was making a pick, like one pick a game, mainly because of, you want to throw it at Jaden Sanders or you want to throw it at Towns, who had 8 picks the year before, or like the amount of people, like he was on the totem pole. Okay, we're going to try 7 before we try 3, or whatever the case may have been last year. I think he had more opportunities last year. Now you're avoiding 7. Now you're trying to keep the ball away from that middle of the field, out of that safety that's going to pick all of them off. I think the biggest improvement from junior year to senior year was his just ability to come down and be a part of the run game. 131 tackles is insane. Big time production. Of course, they played 16 games this year, and they got all the way to the state championship. And defense was the main reason why, as you saw in the state game, holding Stephenville to just 10 points. So a staple of what they did defensively. Offensively, can come over, catch the deep ball, catch the fade, catch the bubble screens like they do out there in Kilgore. Just another productive member, kind of like what I said about Dre Sanders. The impact is better to go and see, because when you see him play so much defense and then all of a sudden you see him catching a bubble and getting 15, 18 yards on a bubble, it's like, oh, okay, this means more. Like the game means more than a highlight. But love Jacalyn Sheffield, thought he was a hell of a football player, and he comes here on the list at number 37. At number 36, a junior wide receiver from Dangerfield, Texas, it is Rain Wallace. And last year, Wallace was so impressive to me. He started and made this initial list at 44. This year, he comes back at 36. And all he did was set a school record for the most touchdowns in a year in only 12 games. 21 or 24 touchdowns, something like that. An insane amount of touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. School record out there in Dangerfield in his junior season. His coach thinks he's the best athlete he's coached probably since he's been in Dangerfield. And that says a lot with not Wallace, it's not NASCAR, Bubba Hampton just leaving, a bunch of great receivers, Jakeemian Rogers at UTSA. For him to say that he's probably the best athlete that I've had is just speaks to words of how talented Rain Wallace really is. Now you see him, and he's really out there a kid on the playground. Like, he can do whatever the hell he wants to. Cut back, shake the whole team twice. It doesn't matter. He catches the ball and then it's up. He had a great quarterback this year. Isaiah Parker played well. Didn't make a highlight tape, so it's not going to be on the list. But I think they had really a talented quarterback that could throw the ball down the field, take advantage of that speed. But it's just men versus boys. It's not fair watching Rain do his thing out there on the field against some of those people that he's playing. Not really sure about his recruiting and where he's offered or anything like that. Like I said, I don't really keep up with that stuff anyway. Rain Wallace is an incredible football player. Put his name in the paper every week. And like I said, has set the school record for touchdown catches in the season last year at Dangerfield. Big time production from a big time junior. And who knows where he finishes on the top 100 of 2026 list. But at number 36, Rain Wallace. At number 35, a senior running back from New Boston is Ashton Rowden. And Ashton Rowden, the Texas Tech signee, only played in 5 games this year. In those 5 games, he had 715 rushing yards, and I think he had 11 touchdowns. Uh, this guy's better than a lot of people and could play anywhere in East Texas, man. He is a really good running back. Great vision, great explosion through the hole, good size on him, already a college size back. You can go in there and you ain't got to worry about is his body going to be able to take the beating that is playing against grown men week in and week out. His body's probably already there. He looks to be heavy. He looks like he's about 190 to 205 pounds already. Season into injury, only got to play in 5 games, played enough and played well enough in those 5 games to be named first team all district, which is why he's on this list because he was eligible. Great tape. You see him. And I think the one thing I said last year, he made the list at like number 91. I said, I don't know about the breakaway speed. Took it to heart. You can see it on his tape this year. He is trying to get up and away from some people on this tape. Great year. It's cut short, but great player. Still made the list because he still has some like he was eligible, made first team all district, which some districts are a little bit lenient, more lenient than others, and some good players got left off of this list because they didn't make first team. But it is what it is. Got to have standards, right? At number 35, great running back headed to Texas Tech, Ashton Rowden. At number 34, a junior running back from Tyler High. It is Kadarius McMillan. And man, Tyler has another one. They always do, man. It's every year it's either over there at Legacy or over there at Tyler High. They find a way to produce sometime big time skill kid. I think the last one, really, really, really good one was Jamarian Miller and Bryson Donnell. And now they've got another Mick Miller, this time and Kadarius McMillan. Tall kid, looks like he's about 6 foot 6'1". Big kid, looks like he's about 185 to 200 pounds maybe, and he can get up and away from people. He really kind of like the same thing with man versus boy, but this is 5A. You got some bigger kids out there, and he still is a separation between him and the next guy. Big physical kid running away from people. You see the first two against Seagoville and Highland Park. Those dudes aren't getting close to him. He's just a physical specimen. Looks the part already. Has the breakaway speed. What I would like to see, going forward is just more like in between the tackles, more of a physical. Can you run through contact? Will you have that 30 carry game for 250 yards and you grind it out? That type of thing. And I think, that's going to be what gets him into those elite top 50 East Texas running back conversations. It's just, what are you doing to improve your legacy? Where's that big moment? That's what we want to see from Kadarius in his senior year. Hell of a football player, going to commit to a big-time school probably this offseason, this summer. But I want to see that moment. What does he do in 2026? Give me that legacy season. Give me that legacy moment in 2026 for Kadarius McMillan. Strong player comes in here on the list at number 34. At number 33, a senior safety slash receiver from New Boston. It is Kaysen Campbell. And Kaysen Campbell was the MVP for New Boston this year. Make no mistake about it. For one, he played all year long, but this dude had 11 interceptions and had 16 total touchdowns. So from the receiver position, he's running it, running it and catching it in the end zone, catching it outside the end zone, and running 100,000 yards to get into the end zone, shaking up at everybody. Defensively, you can't throw the ball around him. He is similar to Cam Brown from West Rusk, a threat on both sides, but he is a more polished, more developed football player, which he's a senior, and you expect that. And I think that's why he pops up here on this list at number 33. The plays don't stop. Regardless of the classification of football, the plays do not stop. Casey Campbell is just continually making play after play after play. 11 interceptions, 16 touchdowns on offense. The best player on both sides of the ball. Really one of those high school legend type seasons. People that went to school with Casey are going to remember him for being that guy for forever because he was the best player on the team and it was undeniable. And just a strong year and a strong performance from him. And he's recognized here on this list at number 33 for such a great performance in his senior year. Really those type of seasons that you live for. And at the end of the day, you can always go back and talk mess to your partners about, hey, when it was time and we were in that season, it was about me. At number 33, Casey Campbell. At number 32, probably my favorite guy to watch off the Carthage defense this year is the senior safety, Tylen Williams. Safety, nickel, outside linebacker, cornerback, whatever you want to call that position. Um, that dude was all over the field, all over the ball, man. Aggressive headhunter. Kind of reminded me of Jeff and I Lister from Longview. Just a guy that's going to be around the football, making plays, blocking kicks, recovering those punts in the end zone like he did in the state game. Uh, Finds his way around the ball. If you throw it around him, he's going to find a way to get his hands onto the ball, catches interceptions. Not necessarily like the greatest coverage safety in the world, but when you have, anytime you amass over 100 tackles as a safety, you're doing your job. This dude is just a flat out ball player, physical at the point of attack, physical when he makes tackles, a headhunter, so I'm trying to knock the ball out of there, savvy, real Honey Badger esque, Tyrann Mathieu type body, Tyrann Mathieu type ability on the high school level of just being a constant nuisance and going in and making plays. Plays with a bunch of fire and emotion. You feel him when you watch him play. When you see him and you see the emotion that he comes off on the field, he's a crowd favorite. I think that's really fun to watch when you get to actually go to some of these games and see how people react to their kids, how much they actually mean to a school, to a city, to a team. Tylen Williams was one of the favorites from Carthage this year, and whenever he made a play, he brought a smile and claps and applause from everybody in the stands. They love Tylen. He did a hell of a job. Comes up here on the list at number 32. And at number 31, a third year in a row making this list, an explosive wide receiver from Winsboro, Texas. 10-3 running Camden Capehart. Signed with Mississippi State. Did not play in a lot of games this year. I think he only played in like 5 games, kind of like Rowden. Did enough to become first team all district in his district. And then made him eligible. And of course, we're going to use that guy. This type speed he has is just undeniable. Could run by anybody, anywhere. Does not matter the conference. Now, it does make it easier to run by some of those 3A cats that he's running by. But he will line up and run by you 6A guys, too. Um, Real track speed, run like 10 something crazy, 10-2, 10-1 at state as a sophomore. He's extremely fast. You see it in his game. That's not his only thing, though. When he has the ball in his hands, he can run through a little bit of traffic. He can run through and make waves. You only see him kind of breaking off. But as a junior, he did a whole lot more short screens, deep balls, all of that stuff. He's a very small dude. Now, that's the thing. He's about 160 pounds, maybe. So he's going to probably need a little time to develop that body down there in Mississippi State, which, I mean, of course, it's the SEC. They're going to do what they have to do. And all I'm saying is he's got the talent, skill, speed. And then if he just trusts the process, get somewhere with a coaching staff that really rocks with him and believes him, Camden Capehart can play football for a very long time with the type of speed that he has. Don't judge a book by its cover. Best comp, honestly, is probably like Xavier Worthy. Just a guy that can absolutely run by everybody, a real threat, and he can score at any time. Same kind of body size, body type. You don't want to do everything with him, but you do want to get that ball in his hands as much as possible. Like I said, shortened season, so can't really justify probably a top 10 spot for him, but I think he pops up perfectly here at number 31.